The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor,
Greetings.
Josh Igala from TheStandard.io,
Guten Abend.
Lamar Wilson from Black Bitcoin Billionaires.
What's happening?
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, 3 reasons why Bitcoin will see 100K. Forbes magazine is back again, and they've got 3 reasons why Bitcoin is going nowhere but up. Reason number 1, Bitcoin is no longer a solution without a problem. Reason number 2, Bitcoin and cryptos are a unique asset class that will only grow in demand. Reason number 3, Economics 101. What a difference a few years makes for Forbes magazine. Suddenly big boosters of that weird fledgling cryptocurrency Bitcoin. Dan Eve, is Forbes magazine right? Is Bitcoin going to 100K?
I believe so. I believe the prophecies of Stock to Flow and Co. that are going to say even more than 100K. And the difference between people's negative and positive opinion about Bitcoin usually involves being given some. So it's likely that Forbes just started stacking it. So that's why they changed their mind, like they always do. You give someone a little bit of Bitcoin and suddenly they start doing some research, they get all excited, and they start saying positive things instead of saying negative things because they can see their balance going up. And they don't want to say negative things about their balance going up because otherwise it will go the other way. But, you look at what happened with the 2004, the gold ETF. It took gold from $400 to $1,700 today. So the effect on, and it, kind of, obviously it was on the rise before then, but it was, very slow. And obviously the ETF helped a lot of people that didn't, again, kind of the same problems with Bitcoin, right? So some people don't want exposure to actually holding the Bitcoin. They want to be able to have a piece of the pie without actually having the responsibility of owning your private keys and taking care of them and caressing them every now and then, knowing that you've got value stored in those 12 adorable words. But yeah, it took gold from 400 to 1700, and it's going to do the same to Bitcoin. And you've got all these services now that all are springing out of the woodwork even more, that are traditional services like PayPal adopting crypto, even MasterCard, Visa getting involved. Everyone's got an announcement. They want to please their own shareholders who don't want to be left behind. They've seen the impact on Tesla and co. So everyone's getting the virus. There's COVID spread around the year in 2020, and Bitcoin is doing the rounds now.
Josh Igala, the mainstream financial press, suddenly a friend of Bitcoin?
Well, tickle me pink. Who would have thought? I actually, one thing that makes me just so furious is like the elephant in the room. Hey, maybe it's going to 100K because they're printing like psycho, crazy, fiendish freaks that are too scared to tax the populace, so they'd rather just dump on the savers. And basically, that's government in a all wrapped up. They love to take dumps on savers. That's all there is about it, really. Dumps on savers. That's why it's going to 100K.
Now that Bitcoin's going to 100K, maybe people will stop saying it's going to 0. Lamar Wilson.
Yeah, I think all of the things the gentleman said before me are true. And I also believe that it's going to 100K just because it's better money. And as the world, I think only less than 2% of the world probably even owns Bitcoin right now. So as that number goes up, we will have more and more demand. And we know we only have 21 million Bitcoin ever. So as that number goes up, basic economics is going to lead us to more scarce Bitcoin, which of course leads to higher prices. I don't know how fast it gets to 100K, but for me, it really doesn't matter, because for me, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. I think I said it the last time I was here, and I will continue to say it. The most important part about Bitcoin is that 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin, and that even at 100K, the value of Bitcoin is far greater than the price would be. So I mean, I think that's it's inevitable that we get to 100K because the rest of the world's gonna wake up and realize that it's far better money.
One Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin. And a great chance for you to give us a thumbs up at home. We've got about 10 people watching. I can see every single one of you on my screen, and I can tell whether or not you're giving us a thumbs up. So this is your chance. Even if you're watching on a recording version later, still give us a thumbs up. We can still see you. And now it's your chance to predict against the predictor of predictors, prognosticator of prognosticators, the greatest mind in all of crypto trading. Dan Eve, the price of Bitcoin this time next week, will it be higher or lower?
Higher, and I'm still banking
muted in fear of the ball. Fear of the ball kept you muted.
Up and 69,420. It's going to happen.
Josh Shigala, 69,420 has been called. Do you match?
Ooh, 69,420. I think it's probably going to be more like, about that. That sounds good. That sounds good. I'll go with that. I'll match.
Lamar, will you join the party higher or lower? Still muted. The ball is very powerful.
I think we're going lower next week because it's going to give me an opportunity to buy some more Bitcoins cheaply. So I just wanted to go lower next week so I can keep buying these cheap Bitcoins up. So what did the ball say? Are we about to find out what the ball says?
The personal advantage choice. Now, will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Signs point to yes. Signs point to yes.
Oh,
so positive prediction.
Lamar, you
got to start buying now.
Yeah, you can't trust. Yeah, you can't trust balls. You can't trust balls.
Can't trust balls. But what about ETFs? Issue 2 Bitcoin futures ETFs are here, paving the way for spot-based ETFs. Yes, you can finally buy Bitcoin on the stock market, but it's only Bitcoin futures. There are no Bitcoin spot ETFs yet. Josh Shigala, what's the difference between a futures-based ETF and a spot-based ETF, and which one of them is good for Bitcoin?
You know, the major thing that people should really watch out for with any ETF isn't whether it's a future or it's a spot, and it's really what is it settled in? Is it settled in cash, or is it settled in actual rare numbers in Bitcoin? Are these ETFs buying Bitcoin in the background and storing them for their clients? If not, then just stay away from them and buy yourself some Bitcoin. Even if they are, I'd say stay away from them and buy yourself some Bitcoin. But that's on a different story. You know, futures are an interesting gamble. Futures came about from farmers who wanted to sell their crops first without having the money up front. So they would sell the crops at the price the crops are now, which is usually what it is. And then if the crop got wiped out from a big storm, hey, it didn't matter because you actually sold the crop beforehand. And if you did get it, then the buyer would get a good deal because when it goes to market, it's a certain price. So it's these sort of strange instruments, these financial instruments as such. To me, I'm a simple guy, just like a lot of people out there. We're simple people. And basically, all I want is some rare assets. This is why I'm into gold as well. I like having something physical that sits in a vault. I don't like having money in banks because banks do all sorts of fun and games with my money. Gold, it sits there in a vault, gathering dust and holding value. Bitcoin sits in cold storage, just holding value. Doesn't quite gather dust because it's virtual, but it's beautiful like that, and that's where I like it. And that's actually spot. So I would go with spot if anything.
Lamar Wilson, Bitcoin ETF, spot or futures?
I would think spot, because in the United States, what I found out just by talking to a few folks and kind of investigating is that if you have a spot-based ETF in the United States, you have to have the underlying asset. And so therefore, it makes sense for somebody like GBTC to launch a spot-based ETF because they have so many Bitcoin already. But the thing that I see is that as more and more of these entities go out into the market to create these spot ETFs, what will happen is I think they're going to have a tremendous amount of demand because they will have demand for their issuance, and they'll have to go out into the market and buy it at whatever the price is at that moment. So I think that'll actually push the market to higher heights. I think the only thing that's stopping a spot is that you have around the globe these unregulated exchanges from a price perspective, like the UOBs and the Binances of the world, that I think a lot of people don't want them to be able to manipulate what's going on with an ETF, right? So I think that's what's probably holding it back, but we'll see. We'll see how fast they go. I think GBTC actually has a really good shot because of the amount of they have. So I think I'd rather go spot than I would go futures, but at the same time, I also rather go just pure Bitcoin so you can custody your own stuff than I would ETFs.
A unique advantage for GBTC, as you say, because they already own the underlying asset. Anyone else looking to make their own spot ETF would have to buy a great deal of Bitcoin, thus moving the market. Or maybe it's easier just to buy Grayscale. Maybe Bank of America or another large entity is out there and they're just going to say, well, we want to make a Bitcoin spot ETF. This company has a bunch of, maybe buy MicroStrategy. I don't know. Maybe that's a bigger strategy, a macro strategy. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on spot Bitcoin ETFs versus futures?
So I definitely, agree that the spot, because they have to have the underlying asset, it makes sense. Obviously, there will be a positive price impact, but on the same footing, right? Surely there will be potential negative impact if they need to sell out. But I think that the main thing that's good about the ETFs, even if ultimately people should be holding their own Bitcoin and they should be hodling their private keys. But the thing that you can't do if you've got a pension, for example, is use it to buy, say, Bitcoin, but you can use it to buy into an ETF that will allow you to have Bitcoin with money that you can't currently touch. So I see that as kind of a real benefit, the fact that you can, you can eke into Bitcoin with money that's not, accessible until you're like 70 or 80 or whatever age they make it to by the time you retire. But spot all the way.
Very good. Moving on to the exit question, and I know we're very tired of talking about ETFs. We talked about them for years. We got one. The price went up. The market's happy. Shouldn't that be enough? But now we have to worry about spot versus futures. Will they approve? Will they launch a spot ETF in the United States in the next 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, or never? Josh Shigala.
2 years. Give them 2.
2 years, a complicated regulatory environment. Lamar Wilson.
Yeah, I'll definitely say 2. I would say 6 to be aggressive, just because we see the futures one. But just to make sure that I'm more close to right, I'll say 2 years.
2 years. Dan, Eve, are you also going with 2?
I think less than 2, because the floodgates have opened, right? We've gone from 1 to 2 within a very short space of time. There's going to be more. There's going to be loads of excitement and loads of buzz. Maybe if a spot request comes in before the end of the bull market, then it might get approved. But if it's after this bull market's over, then I think we'll be looking at 2 years plus.
I like Lamar's Grayscale idea. I like them of, they're already there. They already have a ticker symbol. They're already buddies with the right people. They just kind of roll in, grease some hands, have a Bitcoin ETF in less than a year. Let's go less than a year, joining Dan and the Rebel Party there. Moving on to issue 3, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 football. Tom Brady says he gave a Bitcoin to the fan who returned his 600th touchdown ball. Yes, he got a lot of things for that 600th touchdown ball, but what he didn't get is back his leverage. As the article says, once he gave up the ball, he lost his ability to negotiate. He ended up getting a couple of signed jerseys, a Tom Brady helmet, game-worn spikes from the wide receiver Evans from the game, as well as some other tchotchkes, and it sounds like around a little over 2 years of season tickets, and now presumably at the time of the show, around $64,000 Bitcoin. Lamar Wilson, did the man make a good trade? What about Tom Brady valuing one football equals one Bitcoin?
I think neither one of them made a good trade. I think when you have the 600 touchdown of what most people would consider to be the GOAT, I think that he should have just held on to that ball for future generations. But given that they gave him one Bitcoin, I think future generations, if he can hold on to the Bitcoin, are going to do very well. So I think Tom Brady made a crazy decision giving up one Bitcoin, because we just talked about it. There will only ever be 21 million whole Bitcoins, and Tom Brady gave one up for a football. It lets you know Tom Brady might be a great football player, but he doesn't necessarily completely understand Bitcoin.
I want to stand up for the fan here. I want to defend him. A lot of people are worried about the monetary value of this football, given that Tom Brady's first touchdown ball from the NFL recently sold for around $428,000. So a significant sum for a significant ball. Is the 600 one the most important? What if he goes 700, 800, 900, 1,000? I'm kidding. 600 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns. I just want to stand up for the fan who did the right thing for his team and who acted like a true fan. He's a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of the players gave him a ball that the other player threw. He loves both the players. They won him a Super Bowl last year. He's got incredible seats. He's a big fan of the team, and he did the right thing by the team. If the Oakland A's needed a ball back, I would give it to them, even if it wasn't Ricky Henderson. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on Tom Brady and one Bitcoin equals one football?
Well, there is a bit more to it though, right? Because it's not just one Bitcoin. Because the cool thing about Bitcoin is that it's traceability, right? So as much as people say it's nefarious, it's completely anonymous. Well, it's not. It's completely traceable, which is the point of a public ledger. So surely there's value in, and maybe not as much value as obviously the 400K for the previous ball record or whatever it was. That one Bitcoin was owned by Brady, right? So there's a markup on that. It's like it's got history to it. It's the Bitcoin, the traceably, definitely that piece of Bitcoin, or a virtual Bitcoin that was part of that 600, the 600 catch deal. So I think it's kind of got its own what's the word? I suppose, markup, right? It's like the Bitcoin that I kept that Adam Back gave me for delivering a satellite, which I then accidentally spent. Oh, so that was a bad idea. I was meant to keep that forever. But yeah, I think it's not just that. And also, where's the ball now, right? So the ball, it's not in just one person's home. It's going to be probably in some exhibit somewhere. There's going to be a lot more people enjoying it. They'll be able to see it. So I think that it's at the end of the day, the guy's got a Bitcoin, and we all know where that's going in the next couple of years. So there's always going to be a bit of a cap to how much that ball goes for the 600th, but there isn't a cap to how much Bitcoin will go for eventually.
There's some interesting legendary Bitcoin going around. Dan, I know you had that Bitcoin from Adam Back, and my brother made a unique trade with Peter Todd for a hat. I wonder if he still has that Bitcoin as well. Josh Shigala. Oh, also I wanted to say there's 23 people watching us now. So some of you must have been pushing that thumbs up button. Others of you are sharing this on Twitter or spreading the word. So you're doing a bad job keeping a secret. Don't tell people that we're on. It's a live show. You don't want to promote this by pushing the thumbs up button, pushing share, and subscribe down below. It's a secret. This is where you get the real insider knowledge about the triangles and the trading. And, we have the ball. I mean, other shows, they talk about predictions, but, do they really have them? Josh Shigala, your thoughts about American football and Tom Brady trading a Bitcoin for a football?
Tom Brady. Well, look, I'm an Aussie. We play, rugby. We pound each other's heads in the ground for a piece of pig leather. I don't know. Look, we've all made our ridiculous purchases throughout the years. We've all spent Bitcoin on places we probably shouldn't. The fact of the matter is, you can't look back. I'm pretty sure Tom has enough money to buy to rehodl, as I like to call it, where you spend the Bitcoin to move the economy and you buy it back on the other hand to keep the HODL power. So I think it's good. The more Bitcoin, the better. That's moving around. I like people spending it. I like people moving it. Velocity of money is important, even though Bitcoiners don't like to say that and start to equate me with, I don't know, Roger Ver or something. I do think it's important, and that's why we have the Lightning Network. And as much as you can try the Lightning Network out, I think you should, because it's phenomenal fun. It's the way you really trigger those aha moments, is by sending it to someone or by someone getting it. And I don't know, maybe it's too late for the aha moments nowadays. Maybe everyone's already had their aha moment after reading Reuters. But let's see.
It's a tremendous advertisement for Bitcoin. It's another one of those things we would have thought impossible years ago, that a footballer, a jock would have Bitcoin, would value Bitcoin, would give it away to someone, showing the value, trading the value. Of course, he was sponsored. He was sponsored by blah, blah, blah.com. And he's probably going to get a cut, or he'll get a discount on this Bitcoin or something. But still, fantastic advertising for Bitcoin.
I tell you what, when someone dies, you hang the flag upside down, and you, my friend, has a upside down Bitcoin pin on your shirt. So I don't know who's died or what's happened here. Maybe that's there we go.
That's better. Slips or something, but yeah, and it's reverse image too. I can't even tell. But moving on to the exit question, Lamar, we're going to ask the same question that you already answered, but we'll ask you anyway. Which is crazier, giving away the epic 600th touchdown catch, a sure Hall of Fame ball you could put it on your mantelpiece, you could impress women with it at a bar, or giving away 1 Bitcoin? Even if you are rich Tom Brady, you still gave away one of 21 million. It might be hard to get back in the future. Lamar, which way are you going to go? Probably the Bitcoin. Go ahead.
Yes, definitely the Bitcoin. I mean, listen, a football is a football is a football. And yes, it was his football that he threw his 600 touchdown with, and that'll never happen again, because the next one will be 601. There's still only 21 million Bitcoin. And guess what? Like my man said, he's an Aussie. He doesn't care about football. He cares about rugby balls and soccer balls and kangaroo toes. So because of that, the more important thing is the actual Bitcoin. So it's crazier for Tom Brady to give up a Bitcoin than it is for the guy to give the football over. The fan made the better deal by far.
Lamar makes a good point. Internationally, giving away a football, they wouldn't even expect this oblong thing. They'd want a round ball. There's other countries where they don't care about either footballs. They like cricket or other games. They would definitely prefer a Bitcoin. So the international crowd is probably going all Bitcoin here, asking what's the big deal about American sports. Dan, Eve, a Bitcoin or a football?
I have to say it's crazier giving away a Bitcoin. Even though on my birthday in 2017, when I was feeling pretty pumped, I also gave away a Bitcoin, but it was to the water project. So no doubt I still kind of there's a bit of me that if I'd have actually had to hand it over, it wouldn't have happened. But because you can press it over magic, press a button to make magic money go over the internet, it's a lot easier. But it's a crazy idea. Don't give away your Bitcoin, or do for charity only.
It's a real football, a real physical world football, not an NFT of a football. Josh Shigala, would you trade me 1 Bitcoin for my 1 football?
No, you can keep your footy. Oh.
What if I include an NFT that says like 600? It's like, this is the special 600 football NFT.
Well, look, at the end of the day, it depends on why you have Bitcoin. If you have Bitcoin because you're a banking revolutionary and you want to change the world, and you build stuff and to do with Bitcoin, and you're in the, then maybe Bitcoin. But if you're like a full-on sports fan and that's your shtick, and you think that ball is going to go up in value, a lot of what we do in this space, a lot of what we do in the entire world is a speculation. And most people are like, I don't speculate. Yes, you do. Everyone does. And so, in a way, it's a speculation on Tom's behalf that it will go up. For him, he's got enough money. So really, it's about having that 600th one, giving it to his grandkid. Here you go, here's a 600. I gave someone that $4 billion Bitcoin. But it depends why you have it, why you do it, why you speculate on a certain thing. But I'd take the Bitcoin.
I think it's important that everyone watching this story understands that Tom Brady here is the victim. Tom Brady's won all these Super Bowls. He's got all these money. He's got a mansion. He's got Giselle, but he's got one less Bitcoin now. And all he got was this hunk of pigskin for it. So -1, Tom Brady. But he's already got a billion points on the board. He's far ahead of anyone that you know, anyone that I know. But not the people pushing thumbs up. We're up to 30 viewers, and it's because the people are pushing thumbs up. They didn't even get a football. What kind of a rip off? Moving on to issue 4. Cryptocurrency price news. Squid Game crypto surges 2,400% in a day after Shiba Inu on the rise and Bitcoin recovers. Desiree News. Shiba Inu coin has reached an all-time high. Should you invest? And we've got more. Where's my graphic? I don't have the graphic on there. The graphic's on here. Here we go. We have to wait for it. Dan, are you ready to talk about this issue? There's one more thing. Back in the old days of crypto, we used to do stuff like this. Crypto, big brain. We solved the Byzantine generals problem and created a global, decentralized currency. Crypto now. Coin has dog? Dan Eve, does this coin have a dog? Shiba Inu coin? Squid Game coin? What's next?
Well, the crazy thing about that article is that when it was written, like earlier today, they quoted $2.22, and the price now for Squid Game is $11.54. So it's just insane markets. Just imagine that if you'd have bought like $1,000, that would be worth $5,000 within a day. So definitely, I'm not saying go out and buy it. I'm definitely regretting it, because I did see it the other day and I was like, loads of dumbass people are going to buy that and it's going to moon, and it mooned, and they always do. They always moon. But I'm not sure whether it's affiliated with Squid Game or not. Maybe it's another copy like Kanye coin, when although the developers obviously had to pull Kanye coin. So I don't think it's like related to it, but fair play, very very clever, enabling them so much traction. Just copy a current viral series and then just make a load of money off it. And then if they get told they need to change it, they can just rename, and they've already got the traction in a user base. But when you think about it, they're like, some of these coins are literally just a shareable NFT, right? They're just a collectible thing, just like anything else, but that is divisible. And Bitcoin itself is the most unique collectible ever, as well as being obviously the hardest of hard money. But if people like the idea of something dumb, like, they can buy it, Matt. That's the beauty of a free market. And if they think that it's gonna, if it's gonna go up in value, then people are gonna buy it, and we can't stop them. And that's, DEXs make it even easier for people to buy without, having a stupidity warning given to them. Like, at least some of the exchanges are like, "Are you really stupid?" when you sign up, and you've got to agree to these terms and conditions. Whereas like a DEX, you could just go on there and buy stupid. And so it's cool in a way, because it's like this limitless ability to buy something that's crazy and silly. But at the same time, it's dangerous for people that don't really know what they're doing and get stung. But at the same time, I know people that bought Bitcoin in 2017 at like $19,000 and then freaked out and sold at like 3,000. So, and their opinion of Bitcoin is worse than, say, of Squid Game, for example, because you can always buy at the top and sell lower. But yeah, crazy stuff. I wouldn't recommend getting into Squid Game, but I do regret not getting into it.
But the show's fine. Show's cool. When I read this article, I just think about disingenuousness. I think the whole article is full of disingenuousness from the Squid Coin people who aren't affiliated with the show, from the Shiba Inu coin people who are an obvious copy of Dogecoin, to the media themselves who always write this article. You can't just say, this random crypto account bought $8,000 worth of Shiba Inu coin last year. Now they're worth $5.2 billion. Because if they tried to cash that out, it would crash the Shiba Inu coin market. I'm sure there are a lot of suckers. Maybe even some of these people can cash out, but most of them won't. Most of them won't be able to, because as soon as someone does, everyone else starts selling as well, and the whole triangle just goes down. So media, stop reporting on this. Stop multiplying things. Stop just making these claims. If the guy comes to you and he has the money and he says, this is my bank account, I made $5.2 billion on Shiba Inu coin, well, let's interview that guy. But if that guy doesn't exist and he hasn't sold yet, you can't just make these headlines and these clickbait articles about how much money you could make by Shiba Inu coin. The most tiresome headline that I read as a Bitcoiner is, if you had invested $1,000 in this coin on this day, you would have this now. I'm tired of it. You do it every 3 months, every kind of coin. If the value's up, you do it. If the value's down, you do it. And it's always the wrong advice. It never helps anyone. It's never like Bitcoin is transformational technology and it just takes a while. It's always like, you could have made it or you could have lost it. Josh Shigala, can I sell you a Shiba Inu coin or maybe some Squid Game?
Years ago, years and years and years ago, I remember saying, hey, the whole fight is always, is Bitcoin going to be the only one? And I don't think it is. I think there's going to be a few major currencies around the world, a few major cryptocurrencies. And it might be also depending on region, like maybe in Asia, like Litecoin or something like that. Or, but I think like maybe the standard, what we're working on, might be the standard in terms of stable coins. Who knows? But what there will be, I guarantee it, will be a circus of casino nonsense that will always be there, and it'll just be this mess of a billion different brand names. And just like the stock exchange, that a lot of stocks, they don't hand out dividends. And so the stock and the stock price and the actual company there's nothing really tying them together. It's just the thought of owning something, part of a company. There's no dividend, remember? So you can make a brand and tie it like a coin, and it might trade on something or other. And this is the same for, you mentioned Kanye coin all those years ago. And so you could make any coin and just tie it to the brand, and people go, oh, in fact, that's why Bitcoin Cash, BitConnect, that's why BitConnect went really crazy a little bit, because they had the wrong ticker. People were like, is Bitcoin Cash going to be BCH, or is it going to be BCC? And then, of course, everyone went, BCC, what's that? And then that drove that thing up. So there's all this speculation and this weird, strange circus underneath is always going to be there. But it's really a gamble. It's a gamble, just like a coin toss. Yeah, you might make it. You might make some crazy thing. Probably not, because even if you make it, human psychology is, oh my God, I'm not letting go of something that's going up, up, up. So unless you're a hardcore trader who's very cold and calculated and goes, right, I've made 3x, I'm selling, even though it might go 20x, and go, yeah, I made 3x. Instead, we're like, I'm going to hold on forever. And then, I'm in a casino coin, and I held to the death. So, and that's what most people do.
We call those people winners. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Shiba Inu coin is a copy of Dogecoin. Lamar Wilson, would you buy that for $1?
No. It was funny because we've been around so long that we saw Dogecoin when it first came out, and it literally was just a joke. And it was fun to mess around with and play with. but I don't think anybody looked at it as being some form of investment. And now you have a lot of these people that are looking at these as a form of investment because their cousin Earl told them they made $100 last night. And granted, most of it is on paper. Most of it is just them looking at their wallet, seeing that the price went up. And they're like telling everybody, oh, I made all of this money. Not realizing that there's a thing called slippage, like you were talking about earlier, that when they try to actually sell it, that it's gone. And so just understand, like Joshua said, it's a casino. And that if you treat it as such, understand the same thing that happens in a casino. You're probably more likely to lose all of your money than you are to make it the longer you stay in it. So if you made some money, don't be like your cousin Earl and keep holding on to it and think that the money on the application is the thing that you've made. Make sure you cash that thing out and go get you some Bitcoin and quit playing around in the casino so much, because you wouldn't tell people to walk in the casino and take their savings and their paycheck and put it on black. So please stop walking around telling your cousins to buy Shiba Inu and Squid Game and all of these other ones, because only a few people are going to win. It's just like the lottery. They say somebody has to win. It might as well be you. Well, the truth that always happens is somebody has to win, and it's never you. So just realize you're not going to make a lot of money doing this, and that it's really a gamble, and it's a true bet. Understand it for what it is. And if you want to play around and have fun, hey, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your own money. So
it does keep happening, though. There are early winners on this project. I had a friend of mine who was early into BitConnect. He was early in. He got out early. He made money. He was happy with it. There's always going to be people like that telling you about it, telling you about how much they've made on paper. Like Lamar said, if you haven't cashed it out, you haven't made it yet. You don't know if the value is there. I know a lot of people that were on paper doing very well in NFTs. And if they didn't cash them out, if there's not a buyer there for your product, you know, it's pretty nice with Bitcoin now. There's lots of people willing to buy it. Anytime you want to sell, there's somebody probably on this panel who will buy your Bitcoin for you. But if you've got obscure coin, or you've got really obscure NFT coin, there might not be a buyer when you need one. They might offer you less. And like we said about these markets, the $5.8 billion that the guy's going to cash out of Shiba Inu coin, that would wreck the whole market if he tried to sell it. I remember when it was, I think it's even the same coin where they gave a bunch of it to Vitalik because they thought they were burning it. And Vitalik's like, oh yeah, well, I'll take that and I'll randomly donate it to COVID prevention in India. And they had a whole hassle figuring out how to sell it and whatever they're going to do. But eventually, if they sell that Shiba Inu coin, they wreck that market. So yes, there are winners, there are losers, but it's just like that old thing when you sit down to the poker game. If you can't spot the mark in the first hour, the mark is you, right? Think about how much you know. Think about how many people know about this coin before you, and think about all of them ready to dump their bags on unsuspecting suckers, which is you. You're the unsuspecting sucker. You're the one trying to make $1 million with a $1 investment and no time at all. Like, that's ridiculous. It's never going to work, but that's your plan. It was a secret, but I ruined it. Thumbs up. Still a chance for you to join us. I don't have an exit question. We're going to move on to issue 5. Issue 5, what Bitcoin's environmentalist critics miss. It's labeled as opinion, but we all know that means it's true. Normally, they put out these FUD, scary articles about how much Bitcoin's using and how it's not as much as Christmas lights and not as much as PlayStation 2s when they're sleeping and not as much as a bunch of other garbage that we don't need. Whereas a nice banking system like Bitcoin, that does sound pretty nice. But this article doesn't say that. This article pushes back, and we will read directly from Alexander Leishman, writing here in Newsweek, now owned by Daily Beast. It's just a tabloid. But he says the achievements of Bitcoin are concealed from public view, but so are Bitcoin's environmental benefits. The logic is simple, but also easy to miss. Bitcoin miners will go where energy is affordable, and increasingly, the most affordable energy is renewable. Over 50% of the energy powering Bitcoin mining comes from renewable sources, and that percentage is growing. In other words, Bitcoin mining has nudged the world towards sustainability by creating economic incentives for renewable energy production. There are parts of the world, including huge patches of arid desert land, in which the sun shines brightly and the wind blows fiercely. But without Bitcoin, it is not profitable to capture that energy. Because Bitcoin can be mined anywhere in the world, it helps ensure that tremendous natural power isn't wasted. The breathless headlines miss all of these facts, but perhaps the errors ought to be expected. They come from a tradition of technophobia that is fretted over everything from the telegraph to the light bulb to the car. In their haste to cover Bitcoin miners' energy use, the critics fall into this familiar pattern, letting technology's short-term effects obscure its long-term benefit and potential. Shocking support from the mainstream media about Bitcoin's energy use. Josh Shigala, what do you think about this incredible take from Newsweek?
Yeah, it's quite refreshing. I mean, it's something we've been saying for I don't know, like 6 years on this show. I don't know how. This is, by the way, folks, the longest running crypto show in the world. I just want to outline that. We've been on air longer than any other show in crypto, regularly every Friday. Along with that goes a long string of articles about how Bitcoin's killing the planet. So it is, and every time we say, actually, it's actually driving a lot of R&D into renewable energy, and it's actually driving a lot of pressure into renewables. And in fact, if you go to China, most of the miners that were in China, they're not there anymore because it was made illegal. But most of it was sitting direct at hydropower plants where there was not one single bit of carbon spilt. So yeah, it's really refreshing to see news actually make an article that I would click on. So thanks, Newsweek. Not only did I click on your article about Satoshi Nakamoto being Durian Nakamoto, but I also clicked on this.
I think I've got one of those on the wall behind me over here. Lamar, your thoughts on Newsweek suddenly coming around to Bitcoin's environmental benefits? Yes, benefits.
Listen, man, the media sways whichever way they think the wind's blowing, right? The media said that eggs were bad for you. Then the next time you look around, eggs are good for you. Bitcoin's awful for you. It's going to kill us. The next thing you know, it's something you need to add to your portfolio. That's why you just have to be very careful of the fiat mainstream media. It is backed by fiat, which means they need more and more of it for them to survive, because what they're getting is worth less and less. And so they'll do all of these things just to try to make. Here's the thing: there's nothing greater than creating a hero and then tearing the hero down, and then building them back up again. And Bitcoin has become that hero that media holds on to. Because if you don't go through those cycles, media has nothing to write about. Bitcoin is the most boring subject in the world, and it's boring for a reason, because it's the foundational money layer. Nobody wants to keep talking about the foundational money layer every day. When we try to figure out ways to do it, and the way the media goes about doing it is about creating these provocative pieces, and they're educating you on something that has already been said 45 different times. So the media is just doing what the media does. The energy crisis, there is no crisis. And I mean, I don't know how much more benefit Bitcoin provides to a desert. I just don't know, because you still got to transport the energy from the desert to somewhere else. And that's going to actually use probably some carbon source to get the stuff from the desert into somewhere else. So let's just be real, man. Let's just stack Bitcoin and chill. That's it. It makes it really easy.
Dan, Eve, your thoughts on the media coming around on Bitcoin?
Well, it's just one journalist right now, but it might spread on. And, there's been a number of studies that have said that the amount of renewable energy that's used for Bitcoin is a lot higher than the general media would let you think. And that's because it's, you know, the media plays on doom and gloom, right? It likes the idea of spouting stories of world-ending stories, because a story where something does no damage is a lot less interesting than a story about something that does loads of damage, and you've got to be really concerned about it and give people a reason to go and get like little little flyers and pickets and stand outside somewhere and chant things and do crazy shit like glue their face to the ground and stuff like that. But I did read an article today, actually, contrary to this one, which was that, actually, it wasn't contrary, but it said that every Bitcoin transaction costs $100 of electricity. And you just think about look at the shady methodology that they use to come up with it and how crazy it is. But you're going to get those clickbait headlines. That's how the world works, right? That's why, unfortunately, when you read any old article, you see all sorts of random crap about, like, I don't know, Matthew Perry's new like shoes having a hole in them or something random that's just silly, because people like looking at crazy stuff. But it's good that renewables are being monetized. They're driving out the efficiency, and they're driving out the most efficient ways of electricity and turning that into something insanely useful. There is the argument, of course, that that when it comes to shove and the Bitcoin miners have to be turned off because they've got to supply electricity to the grid that's no longer excess, then, you know, that's obviously still apparently a bit of an issue. And, you know, whether they do actually turn the miners off to provide that electricity, they might get hit by fines or whatever. Who knows? But if this article referenced the fact that it said somewhere in there that there's 50% now that's over 50% that's renewable. So I'm not sure what the source is, but they should provide that source to Tesla so that Tesla start accepting Bitcoin again, and then we go even quicker to 100K, because you know how excited everyone got last time Tesla was accepting Bitcoin.
It was interesting. They had no reason for doing it, and then they canceled it for no reason. I agree with what Lamar said earlier. It does seem like Bitcoin's on the hero's journey, but it seems like it's a circular journey. It's like Groundhog Day. We keep completing the thing, then we wake up and we do it again, and we complete the thing. We wake up, and we do it again. We vanquish all these things, and then they come back and they come back. So that's why we covered this article. It was great to see a different take on environmentalism from the mainstream media, who so many times gives us those Bitcoin is using more energy than this small country, or Bitcoin's using more energy than this larger country, or this group of countries, or whatever. And they never mentioned the PlayStation thing. They never mentioned the Christmas lights.
The biggest waste of energy is the articles being written about the waste of energy.
No, it's a whole economy. It's created a whole circular economy of value where, you know, we talk about it, they write about it. We talk about it, they write about it. Look at, and the people listening right now, you guys are obviously pushing that thumbs up button against my wishes here. There are 37 people watching the show. It's supposed to be a secret, not supposed to tell anyone, but you could still push that thumbs up button. You could subscribe down below. Like Josh says, we've been doing these shows since 2013. We recently started replaying some of the old ones. We got a comment the other day. People like my Mad Bitcoins hat. I'm like, that was 8 years ago, guys, 8 years ago. But you can check out all the Mad Bitcoins episodes on the Mad Bitcoins channel. There's like 600 of them. But we're running out of time. We're moving on to issue 6. Goldman Sachs is giving hedge fund clients crypto research from data firm The Block. Yes, they called us rat poison. They said we were the worst invention ever. We were Ponzi schemes. We were going to destroy the environment. We were going to just crash to nothingness. It's going to go to zero. It's going to get hacked. Your exchange is going to get hacked. Your wallet's going to get hacked. Your computer, all these things. And now Goldman Sachs is giving their hedge fund clients, again, not their normal clients, not you, but the hedge fund people are getting that specific and that really need advice that, again, they could have gotten from this show, 8 years ago. They could have gotten from Mad Bitcoins 8 years ago. Buy Bitcoin. You don't need to write a whole prospectus about it. Lamar, they're finally coming around. Let's take a little victory lap on Goldman Sachs here.
Just like the media, they all are going to capitulate. That's just how it works. Goldman Sachs. But here's the thing that I read in the headline. They're selling data, which this is what's going to happen even more so as we continue to keep moving from self-custody into custody type environments. these environments are not just going to custody your Bitcoin or whatever. They're also going to wind up selling data around what you're doing with it. So please, everyone, public service announcement, learn how to custody your own Bitcoin. Because they said they selling the data from the firm, the block, but this is what I'm saying. Like, banks are in the data business as well, and they will sell your information down the river. So let's make sure everybody gets custody. But come on, man, this same cycle is going to keep happening. Everybody's going to wind up capitulating to Bitcoin because we know it's inevitable. So
it's interesting. This report here says that the only way I can buy Bitcoin is through Goldman Sachs, and the only way that I can hold it is also through Goldman Sachs. It's a really interesting report.
Ridiculous, right?
That's right, but that's the way they're going to sell it. They're the only ones who can handle your money. Dan, Eve, Goldman Sachs, now our friends.
They slowly gave in, didn't they? From JP Morgan turned from calling Bitcoin fraud to piling in. So they're all going to do it. They've all been secretly stacking along the way. All the banks, even the central banks, they've all been stacking. They've all been dissing it in the background and making out as if it's such a bad thing. But they've been stockpiling it because you have to. Because stockpiling Bitcoin isn't just. It's like an insurance policy. Because they've got a hedge against the best asset, the fastest growing asset, and the hardest money in history. They've got a hedge against that if they really believe in their own crappy fiat money, which they do because they still have so much control over it. But they also know that Bitcoin is a threat. Unfortunately, Bitcoin stayed. The good thing about Bitcoin staying under the radar and being ridiculed for so many years is that it was able to grow into this, incredible position with all this infrastructure that just can't be dismantled overnight or can't be taken down easily. You can't cut Bitcoin off or just like turn the plug or whatever. It's everywhere. It's integrated into so many different parts of society. So it's a good thing that it stayed under the radar, that all these big banks were taking the piss out of it, saying it was going to die. We had the years of obituaries and those have slowed down because people are realizing how dumb it is. Imagine someone paying your ass as an economist, right? And you said for 10 years that Bitcoin is worth nothing and it's crap. Like, you should be fired. Like, you're an idiot. You're literally an idiot. So it's a shame, but they're turning around. They're turning around, and Bitcoin is the one. It's the hardest money, and all the banks will capitulate in the end.
And now those same idiots are going to help you invest your money in Bitcoin. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on Goldman Sachs?
Goldman's empty sacks. No, I tell you why they're not empty is because they played you. They played you big, Americans. They, somewhat like when I think Goldman Sachs, I think JP Morgan, I think they're all in the same game, right? So when JP Morgan Chase came out and said, we're going to fire anybody that trades with this stuff, basically the price tanked, and that Jamie was buying up from the other hand. That they were buying those rare digital assets, those ultimately rare numbers. And now, funnily enough, we're going to help you trade it as well. I mean, guys, if you just shouldn't listen, A, to us in terms of investment advice, but B, you shouldn't listen to these dicks either, because they're just fools. Do your own research. Always check out the World Crypto Network. Check out the fantastic work over the Black Billionaires Club on Clubhouse. These communities give you the right advice in terms of where to start looking. Okay, they're not advice, it's not financial advice, but it's education. And you need to trust your gut. You need to learn how to fail. You need to learn what scams look like, because the government's been protecting you way too long that you don't even understand what a scam looks like anymore, because they've protected you like, ooh, you're not allowed to invest. You're not an adult. You can't invest in a new startup. No, only accredited investors can do that. You go over there and gamble on that horse, would you? they have basically suffocated you as a normal human adult being. It's now time to learn what it is to find a very, very good investment and actually follow your heart and mind and make those decisions for yourself, because these idiots are just playing you.
We have received reports that everyone who was fired has been rehired. Everyone who lost their bank account has been given their bank account back. And if they destroyed anyone's business by cutting off their banking access, they've given them all their money back. They're just all the banks are all of our friends now. Forget all those things that happened to you. Forget. Moving on to our other bonus issue. Now, I know this is an advertisement and we don't play advertisements here. We don't even put them on the videos anymore. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but we don't. And but this is my favorite advertisement. I love this advertisement. It's about Bitcoin. Well, it's about crypto if we have to do that, but it's really about Bitcoin. It features Matt Damon, legendary actor, writer of Good Will Hunting. And let's just watch it right here. It's 1 minute, then we're going to talk about it.
History is filled with almosts, with those who almost adventured, who almost achieved, but ultimately, for them it proved to be too much. Then there are others, the ones who embrace the moment and commit. And in these moments of truth, these men and women, these mere mortals, just like you and me, as they peer over the edge, they calm their minds and steel their nerves with 4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
Oh, it's the greatest thing. I love everything about that commercial except the crypto stuff or whatever. And it's fortune favors the bold, I think is the more popular variation. But just look at the details. Look at that clipper ship, the way it digitizes in. Look at that girl. She's going to kiss him back. Look at the African-American female Satoshi as an astronaut. This is the stuff of dreams, people. This is, and again, the whole message here is that you early Bitcoiners, that's who he's talking about. He wants a bunch more people to join him and to get on his new exchange and make money with him and Tom Brady and whatever. But what he's really talking about, the people who have come before, the historic ancestors and such. He's talking about you, the Bitcoiners, who had faith in this ridiculous thing that no one else, even Matt Damon, didn't believe in. And now we've got Matt Damon, we've got all those computer effects, all that stuff. I think it's a triumph, fantastic commercial. Let's go first to Lamar. What do you think about crypto.com and their amazing new Matt Damon commercial?
Oh man. What do I really I think
I know
it's a lot.
it's good and bad, isn't it? It's like I
think it's like a lot.
But it's got good parts.
It's cool, but it's still not better than the FIFA commercial from back in the day. The FIFA commercial, the FIFA/gift commercial was the best commercial in Bitcoin, hands down. But it was, man, I don't know, man. This is just a weird thing for me. Fortune favors the brave. And what he's basically telling people is to go on to crypto.com and ape into a whole bunch of altcoins. That's literally what people are going to do when they go to crypto.com. It's like, are you brave enough to buy this ridiculous coin on crypto.com? That's the message that I'm hearing. It doesn't say Bitcoin or anything else. It's, this coin looks ridiculous, but I'm going to be brave and fortune is going to favor me. That's what I see from it. I think it's, I don't know. Look, maybe, all right, man. I'm just going to leave it at that.
How romantic for fortune to favor the brave. I think we have the FIVA Bitcoin wallet commercial. Is this the right one, Lamar? I can't hear you, but I can play it if it's the right one.
Yeah, that's the right one.
All right, here we go. So this is from, I don't know, I want to say like 8 years ago. Lamar and Leif had this really cool Bitcoin wallet named FIVA. You could side load it on your Apple phone when there were no Bitcoin wallets in the iOS store. Had a lot of other cool features like gift cards and stuff. Let's see what happens on the FIVA wallet commercial.
Bitcoin crashed last Sunday. It doesn't make any sense. Some computer programmer and code robot guy nobody's ever heard of. If it was money, we would call Bitcoin money. They don't call it money. You can't buy anything with Bitcoin, pizza, and drugs. And Silk Road shut down, so you can't buy drugs. When are you ever going to be able to buy anything with Bitcoin?
You want to help with these?
How did you...
Troll, please. The Fever Bitcoin wallet. Now, plus gifts.
Oh,
Nice.
That is class.
That is
class.
cool, man.
Thank you. I told you it's the best Bitcoin commercial of all time.
Is it still going? Is Fever still going?
Man, the Fever wallet has been shut down for many years now.
Yeah.
We weren't making any money with it because we weren't charging anybody crazy fees to just buy gift cards or nothing. So, but it kind of put us on the map, right? That's how I met all of these people. That's how I met Mad Bitcoins and everyone else. So yeah, man, the Fever Bitcoin wallet, that commercial was the greatest, man.
Nice.
But it's amazing the ripples that these early projects can have. I know Lamar and Leif were working on that back in the day, and then they went back home and they started a whole project like educating the youth about cryptocurrency and programming and all kinds of stuff. And just all kinds of people got helped from what they did and what they continue to do now with Black Bitcoin Billionaires over on Clubhouse. Dan, your thoughts about the crypto.com commercial and now also the FIFA wallet commercial. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, first of all, on the crypto.com one, it's very awe-inspiring, right? It was, as you pointed out, they got the nice graphics and, the romance sort of part. But when you think about it, it's a bit silly because, well, first of all, the only sort of reference to Bitcoin I saw was the little Satoshi tag on the astronaut suit, but also the fact that they're comparing just buying some crypto, because they didn't say Bitcoin specifically, so they're talking about general crypto because crypto has got its own cryptocurrency, right? MCO or something like that. So they're comparing like buying a shitcoin with like traveling to new worlds, climbing Everest, like this array of things. It's a pretty stupid like leap, really. But it gets people out there. It's got celebrities. People like celebrities, and then they'll go and look, and then they'll learn about shitcoins, and then they'll buy Bitcoin, and it's that cycle that everyone goes through. But I like the Fever advert. I thought that's amazing. I thought that was amazing. It went a different way because I thought when he was sort of yapping to his girlfriend about Bitcoin, I thought that on his girlfriend's face, I was like, that's exactly how my girlfriend looks like when I'm going like blah blah blah, and she's just like totally disinterested, like But yeah, nice twist where she actually used the app and used Bitcoin to buy a load of groceries. So I think that was absolutely spot on. And it's a shame it's not still around because I'd be using it right now.
Oh, very nice. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on crypto.com and FIFA wallet?
These sort of, I know why you like it mainly is because it's a museum. Let's face it, you love it because it's a museum. Yeah. For those that don't know, Mad Bitcoins loves museums. So I like it. I think it's nice. It's very
Crypto belongs in a museum. It belongs in a museum.
I mean, look, I think, it does give this epicness, and there is an epicness to Bitcoin. There is an epicness to changing the banking system that really all of us have been praising. There is an epicness to the fact that it's changing the entire art scene. There is an epicness that it's changing the way we think about money and what it is. It is an epicness that we take power away, that we separate money and state. It's kind of in a Magna Carta sort of moment really is grand. It is absolutely grand. But I feel that this commercial, with all of its glory, is just not. It could have been clever. It could have been a little bit more clever than what it is. But it is what it is. I like it. There are some really nice big crypto commercials out there, but I think that Fever one really gives me the fever. I got a fever, and the only answer is more cowbell and that ad.
Very good, very good. I still think it's an epic commercial. I get what you guys are saying about the shit coins and stuff, but I just see it. And again, if I could, I don't think I could picture a better commercial than this. I'm like, well, you got Matt Damon, like Josh says, he's walking through a digital computery museum with all these effects going on and all these things that I already like Clipper ships and Wright brothers and spaceships and astronauts and stuff like that. It's already well up in line with me. We didn't even talk that much about the guy trying to kiss the girl. There's kind of a geek superhero story there that he's out there dancing with her and it's going well. And just I perfect commercial. I don't care about the crypto part. It's super funny. Just as a side note, when we started the World Crypto Network in 2013, we were using crypto as a generic term for cryptocurrency. We're also interested in other forms of cryptography, like encrypting our email, encrypted messages, end-to-end encryption, other things like this, computer stuff, right?
World Crypto Network.
Exactly. Well, that was our name, and that was our thing. That was like already the guy, James D'Angelo, already had World Bitcoin Network, so we weren't going to copy James. That's not cool. James is cool. But so yeah, World Crypto Network. But it's been really fun and interesting to see. Recently, there's people out with pitchforks and they're mad about the word crypto and they want to tear everybody down that uses crypto. And Brian Armstrong, famous CEO of Coinbase, would always say crypto. He'd never say Bitcoin. It was the strangest thing watching it happen, knowing that he made his fortune on Bitcoin. Then he put it in Ethereum. Then he put it into his big company and all that stuff. But still, you think like Roger Ver, you'd be like, dance with the one that brought you, right? But no, not these guys. They're like, I dance with whoever comes along. But it's great. So I don't really care about the crypto thing, but it is funny to see the people with their pitchforks and then to quietly be over here like, we said that in 2013. It's a generic term. Don't mean offense by it. But I guess people are very up about it. So I'll probably get some emails. But I think we're running out of time. It's been a big show. Dan, Eve, do you have a prediction or a story of the week or more to say on crypto? Go ahead.
I just got a few things. I just want to cycle back to something because I missed about Shiba specifically. Now I'm not shilling in any way, but there's just a few fun things I wanted to point out. I don't have any Shiba coin. I wish I did. It's one of those situations. But this specific article made me laugh because the person who they got to talk about Shiba coin, who said stuff like nothing sets it apart in terms of its functionality, and we'll cycle back to that again. But the guy's name is Douglas Bonepath, right? Shiba Bonepath, and he's a certified financial planner and president of Bonafide Wealth. So he's got bone in his name. So no wonder he doesn't like the dot, because he knows the shib's going to eat him. But anyway, this functionality now there is the kind of uniqueness to certain things that are giving them appeal, right? So you can have like something that does exactly the same function as something else, but people like it because it's got a dumbass name. And Shib have literally smashed that. So just a quick walkthrough of the features. So digging is providing liquidity to get bone. They've got burying instead of staking. They've got a bone folio instead of portfolio, and they've got they've got fetch for swapping tokens. And the best bit of all is a woof paper. But don't buy it. Don't buy it. Just look at it, laugh at it, and don't buy it. My story of the week is that this is brought to you to me in this show is brought to you by The Standard this week. Because I'm wearing the Standard's hat. And if you look close enough, you've got Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Sorry, it's slightly dirty. That's the quality of the camera you see showing stuff up.
Hey, thanks, Dan, man. Cheers for the shout out. Nice.
And check out The Standard at thestandard.io. Some kind of thing. Josh, story of the week, prediction. What do you got?
Yeah, well, we just started a big competition on thestandard.io, and we gave away 20 packs of merch, t-shirts and bags with the original Satoshi Genesis block print on there, and another jumper with similar to that, and a whole lot of stuff. We had 20 winners. We had like a fair picking system that we all do live. So make sure, and the next, every week we're giving away a bunch of stuff. Next week's giveaway is 5 AirPod Generations 3. And then when you're in for that, we're giving away also iPads and AirPads. AirBook Pros or whatever. Apple stuff. That's what we're doing. Apple stuff. Now, the reason why we chose Apple stuff is because you can buy it in every country and ship it to them locally, which makes it cheaper for us. But some really, really cool merch. And I'm really, really happy with the community. Check out the on Telegram, the standard_IO is the group, and we're chatting all sorts of stuff about crypto there. Check it out. Really, really cool community.
Very cool. Gonna have to get me one of those Cypherpunks Write Code hats. Maybe I can get a star and it says like PHP and MySQL counts as code. Something like that. It's gonna kind of loop around the back of the hat.
We got another one. Chicks dig Unix.
Finally, right? I learned all those commands for nothing, but soon I will be unzipping and LSing and all the things that I need to do at the command line. Lamar, prediction or a story of the week. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily this week, but last week we did our first Black Bitcoin Billionaire Demo Day, where it was a pitch competition. You win $20,000 on Clubhouse, $20,000 worth of Bitcoin on Clubhouse. Shout out to Kraken and Cash App for sponsoring that. But we were able to give $20,000 away to a upcoming company that is trying to put miners in Section 8 housing and use the subsidized energy to mine Bitcoins and then use those Bitcoins to help those people get their first houses. So it's a pretty cool cycle. Yeah, pretty cool business. And make sure you check us out in the next quarter. We're going to do it again. And we're going to keep doing it as long as we still have Bitcoin to keep giving away. So we're going to keep trying to do that. But yeah, that's probably the biggest story for me of the past week because it went off without a hitch. We had a wonderful group of panelists and everything was just really cool. So yeah, man.
Nice. Well done.
It's a little like Mr. Beast. Maybe if you can keep rolling the sponsors' money big enough, maybe you can be giving away houses soon, just like Mr. Beast. Yeah. Sponsors, ideas, sponsors, awesome. Kraken, come on, let's give away a house here. People want a whole house. But yeah, you've been doing a great work with the Black Bitcoin Billionaires on Clubhouse, on Twitter Spaces, all over the place, producing a whole new generation of Bitcoin evangelists who understand why they bought the Bitcoin, who want to hold the Bitcoin, who want the private keys. You don't have to be Black to understand this. You don't have to be Black to be involved. It's a great group, very supportive. Love the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. So everybody check that out on Clubhouses or Twitter Spaces or wherever you hang out. I think we're running out of time. It's been an epic show. I know everyone got a good chance to give us a thumbs up, but if you didn't, still a chance to push it at the end. If it's your first time here, you could subscribe. We've been doing these shows since 2013, but you can still subscribe today. It's all right. And that's about it. We're out of time. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.